So as it turns out, what I thought was a dead end in the quarry actually had a little knockover bridge that I hadn't noticed. Wait a second. Last time I wondered if the keys could be obtained in any order, and this confirms it. You just have to be a bit more observant than I am. With this revelation, I was able to finally reach some areas of the quarry I had seen earlier. I was led up to a checkpoint spot, but was unable to reach it due to a moat of water. I'm almost certain we're going to get some sort of ability that allows us to cross short gaps. I've been seeing so many items or areas that seemingly can only be reached in this fashion. My reward for my discovery was a new, very valuable card. Due to some earlier observation, I instantly knew what it would do. But what I didn't expect was a cute visual of your player character wearing the mask. Look at me! Finally being able to explore without the constant glowing and droning was fantastic, and revealed a ladder that I had not been able to see earlier. It's such a clever way of hiding progression, instead of the usual lock and key. Technically, you've always had access to this ladder, but without prior knowledge, it was almost impossible to find without this item. If anyone did find this ladder early, then they were surely met with a wild time. It certainly was for me. The ziggurat is such a departure from the generally normal fantasy vibes the game has given off, replacing it with an evil factory sort of feel. It makes sense as the source of all these strange machines and devices we've seen throughout the game, and the revelation of what's inside the monoliths is horrifying. Holy shit, dude. These beings look like failed attempts to recreate the deity trapped in the prisms, and radiate with the purple glow that is so damaging to our character. They're in distress, groan in agony, and are being mass-produced. It's crazy to know that every monolith I've lit has one inside, and I can only wonder what happens to them when they're activated. I wonder if creating them is the reason the scavengers are mining the purple material. Perhaps they're trying to mimic the power of the deity, the power to defy death. Another observation is that save points in this area are completely different than anywhere else, yet they function the same. You can even offer up a blessing at them. Are these what's inside the checkpoints found around, or are they a cheap copy? The noise they make when you rest at one would suggest the latter. The ziggurat introduces creatures made out of the purple power source that lowers your health upon impact. They quickly become too difficult to deal with alone, but the game offers you an alternative way to deal with them. Holy shit, it's killing them! I love when enemies fight each other in a game. It's such a cool way to world build. This implies that whoever built the ziggurat did not want these creatures around, and built the turrets to fend them off. This level is difficult, especially with the mini-boss encounters with the strange machines. I love how they have two different stages, each that have their own abilities. I also love how they foreshadow the boss's moveset. In fact, the boss's moveset is one that had been foreshadowed by pretty much everything within the quarry. The moves the scavengers use, the robots, and even the shotgun all find their way into the moveset. So far, he is the hardest boss yet, one that demands you to learn his moveset, to learn when you can and cannot get hits in. My ultimate winning combo for this boss was a shotgun and a dynamite. Once I got the blue key, I returned to the temple to insert the keys, only to find out that I couldn't put the red key in. I quickly realized that I had to get it out of the pillar, but figuring out exactly how to do that took me about an hour of running around. This raises the question if things like this happening is my fault, or the developer's fault. I found eventually that the solution was just outside the Siege Engine's arena, on a platform I had paid little mind to. It's the risk a developer has in making a game that requires careful observation such as this. Not every detail will be caught, remembered, or interpreted the way that a developer intended, and I reckon most players would come across a portion where they just could not figure out what to do. This has happened to me a few times, and usually the manual has been my solution, but not in this instance. From the item being put with my shield and lamp, I figured it might have some function, and didn't make any connection with what I actually had to do with it. The spot used to separate the key from the staff is a small one that I had briefly passed by and had little memory of, and there was nothing in the manual to help me figure it out. I don't think the developers anticipated someone getting stuck here, and it is unfortunate, but I can't say the hour of running around trying to find something I missed was very fun. It's partially my fault for brushing off a detail, but perhaps the developers could have communicated its solution better. Still, the excitement of finding out what using all three keys would do was not dampened by the frustration. So much so that I went a little beyond what the planned stopping point was. Perhaps I was progress starved. The deity was now free, and once I saw he was missing, there was only one place he could be. The sword, as it turns out, is theirs, and they now have an official name, the Heir. This raises a lot of questions. I thought I was the heir. If this being instead is the heir, am I following the foot tracks they were supposed to follow? Either way, they turn out to be not too friendly, and they use this mysterious title screen sword to kick my ass. Dying in this land of the dead, it seems, means I don't get to respawn normally. Instead, I'm back in the same world I've grown familiar with, but I seem very ghostly now. The dimension I had used earlier to transport around is now much more purple, and the world is populated with fellow ghosts who give ominous messages. A new path is opened, however, one that takes me to a creepy region of a broken down teleporter known as the Old Burying Ground, a place where my next adventure will take place, and where I'll surely find out more about this world.